Hello friends, Sarah Sunstone here, bringing you the latest gaming news with Sunnyside Up. Today is October 15th, 2025. The developers behind Witchbrook, the upcoming spellbinding life simulation game, shared a brand new developer blog. This blog, very excitingly, does reveal the game's world map, but it also shares some very disappointing news. So I'm not going to beat around the bush here, the game has been delayed. While it was originally slated for a winter 2025 release, which we speculated the only option for that would be December, very sadly the game will not be releasing now until next year in 2026. And also, unfortunately, it doesn't seem like we have any sort of idea of when in the year that will be. So let me first read you their official statement before I share all of my thoughts. And do stick around through the video because we'll also be looking at the map of Mossport, which is very exciting to see so many of the playable areas in the game. So here's the official statement. Originally, we had planned to launch in winter of 2025, but despite great development progress this year, we've made the difficult decision to shift the release into next year. Witchbrook is a big project and is taking shape exactly as we hoped, full of charm, depth, and detail. In our first blog, we shared our goal to create a living, breathing world for you to explore, which I also covered, so I'll link that one down in the description. And as we bring all those elements together, we're taking the time needed to ensure the world feels rich, immersive, and alive. So do I want them to take all the time they need to make this game the best it can be and live up to our expectations? Of course I do. Of course that is the best call here. It would honestly be even more disappointing if the game released before it was ready and didn't provide that experience that we're all so excited for. At the same time, I'm human and I was so excited for Witchbrook. I have been literally counting down the months, the weeks, the days to whenever we could hope for it to release. Again, we were thinking it would be in December, and I was so excited for it. So of course, I'm super disappointed that we now have to wait until next year. I know it will be for the best, of course, and I do want the team to take, the time that they need to create this game. I mean, we didn't even know if this game was going to be real until this year. Like, we had never even seen gameplay for it until this year. So I think part of me is just grateful that the game truly does exist at all. I am feeling a little bit nervous that we don't know exactly when next year it will be. Could this just be a small delay where now we're going to be playing it, in Q1, maybe Q2 of 2026? Or is this going to be a situation where we're waiting until like the very end of 2026 to finally play the game? That's just something we really do not know at this point, and I'm guessing since the team didn't share any window of release for 2026, they probably maybe have an idea but aren't necessarily confident that they could stick to that yet. So, of course they don't want to give us another release date or release window that then gets pushed back again. So I do think it's probably best, if that's the situation, that they just give us the year. It is a little bit nerve-wracking. It is a little bit disappointing. At the same time, like I said, I want them to take the time that they need, and I want Witchbrook to be as amazing as it possibly can be. Now, there is actually a silver lining with this delay. So because the team is letting the cauldron bubble for a little bit longer, this has actually opened the door to exploring some new exciting opportunities. This includes some additional platforms and also language support that they hadn't initially planned. So this actually makes me really hopeful for a PlayStation 5 release, which was previously missing from the lineup. And additional language support is incredible. So they did say they'll share more details on this, as soon as they can. So we'll stay tuned for that. Of course, you guys make sure you're subscribed with your notifications on so you don't miss out on any Witchbrook news. So now let's take a look at the world of Witchbrook, the map of Mossport, and then we'll circle back to some of my final thoughts on this and what's next for Witchbrook. So the team shared that so far they have been quiet about the size of the game world, but today they're revealing the first look at the game's actual map, the map of Mossport. They further went on to say that while the map specifically highlights the sheer scale of the physical world, they're also hard at work filling it with spellbinding stories, captivating quests, and enchanting systems to enrich your time at Witchbrook College. Because honestly, size isn't everything. It is important that we also have lots of things to do in the world, and it feels alive and it's fun to explore. So I'm very happy to hear that they are prioritizing that as well. And what's actually even cooler about this is they're sharing an interactive map. So of course I'll have this developer blog linked in the description for your reference, so you can check it out yourself. But they shared that all of the colored areas you see on the map are playable. So you can zoom out and actually see how expansive the map is. So this looks like the beach area. And then as you go up north, you have the countryside. Then kind of close to the center, you have the school itself, the School of Witchbrook. And then there's some forest to the left, a little bit of woodlands to the right as well, and then a beautiful, very mystical looking forest up the furthest point north. So this is a very expansive map. I'd be curious to know, I mean, they said all the colored areas you can explore, but I would be curious to know to what extent in these forest areas and like what exactly is in here, if anything. Now there's also a bunch of markers on the map. And again, you can zoom in if you want to get a better look. Like there's a boat down here. There's like a nice little fishing spot here. Like there's a lot to look at, and there's probably some secrets we could uncover in here if we take a really close look. But for the markers down here, we have Parasol Sands. Now this is a brand new picture, and this is another viewpoint of the beach where the art studio is. They also marked this street as Whitecap Esplanade. So we have seen this in the trailer. It's nice to place it on the map. And then off of this street is Hannah's apartment. Currently the photo's not showing here, but Hannah does live above the Calico clothing store. So that's now confirmed to be right here, kind of close to the beach. Then you might recognize this central area. These appear to be those tulip fields and the windmill. And this also kind of affirms that, noting this is where the spring festival will take place. So it's another area we've seen in the trailers. There's also actually quite a bit of farmland out here and here. Lots of water, it's really nice, lots of ponds, nice spots for fishing. A couple things I thought were interesting is it looks like there's actually a cave here, and this part of the beach just looks really interesting. There's also a little island out here, and I wonder if we could go to it. That'd be really cool. Now, this map also confirms where we will be living, which is over here. This is Shadbrook Cottage, and I believe this is our place. This is a brand new photo of the cottage that we'll be able to decorate, and it's really exciting because here we do actually get to see a bunch of decorations in the exterior space. So we were speculating previously, whether or not we'd be able to decorate the outside area, and it looks like we will be able to, and it even looks like there's a gorgeous little patio down here too. Some little flamingo decorations, a cute little bike, tons of flowers. It looks really, really nice. So this is very exciting. I also noticed this little bird here, who is also down here on the blog, and I'm wondering if this might be a possible familiar for us, or maybe even an NPC. The blog reads that when you need a step back, Shadbrook Cottage and its verdant garden offer a quiet retreat to transform how you see fit. Just down the lane, you'll find peaceful farmlands and even a secluded spot to fish along the winding river. So yeah, this is where we'll be living. And north of that is Shad Hollow Forest. Now this looks beautiful. It looks so autumnal. The trees look gorgeous. There's a nice little gazebo here, and I'm just imagining how magical it will be to, ride our brooms through this forest. And according to this, Shad Hollow Forest has lots of concealed paths and ancient secrets. So again, that'll be really exciting to explore. Then, we have the main event, which is Witchbrook College. So it looks like Witchbrook College actually extends a little bit off of like the main area, and it is all surrounded by water, which is really cool. But it looks like some of the buildings will actually be a little bit removed from the main campus. So like here we have tea making class. So I don't know if this is also where we're going to be practicing herbology or if herbal tea is like the main event here, but this looks lovely. We've seen this before, but I will happily see it again. Then in like the main school, we have the lecture theater. So that's what this room was that we've previously seen. There is a bulletin board here, which is kind of interesting. It looks like there's a calendar on it. And we can also see that this screenshot was taken in multiplayer. So it seems that you can go to the lecture hall and maybe even attend classes with your friends. Just to the right of the lecture hall, we have the north hallway. Again, this looks so lovely. Lots of display cases with interesting items and artifacts. Looks like it connects to the courtyard as well down here. They also just shared a pin for Witchbrook College itself. This looks like it's the main entrance here to the main building. And then over to the right here is the Arcane Arts classroom. So we've also seen this one before, and that one is going to be over here. Now, it looks like there could definitely be some other classrooms up here that are not pinned. There's an interesting building over here too, just on the outskirts of Shad Hollow Forest. Some of these buildings here could be more classrooms, or they could be some of those campus shops. And then there's another building out here that's kind of just tucked away in this woodland area, along with something interesting here. I honestly don't know what these represent, but there's something going on here. And unfortunately, they are not showing any pins from this beautiful looking area. It's all these like shades of purples and blues. And I'd be so curious to see what this looks like in game and, you know, what would be here. Because from this perspective, these areas just look like a bunch of trees. But I imagine there's lots of like pathways and hidden secrets throughout, but you know, for now we'll just have to use our imagination. But this is really cool. I'm sure we could continue to uncover lots of fun little secrets, lots to spot and speculate on. So I'm really excited that they shared this. I'm very, excited to see this, very grateful to see it. I love that it's interactive, and I think this was such a unique way to share an update with us. So I very, very much appreciate this map, and I'm super excited to continue looking at it. I'm really happy with the overall size of the world. I think it seems probably perfect depending on how much is actually in it. You know, if it's as full as they say it is, then we're in business. So what is next for Witchbrook? Well, the team will actually be sharing some more development updates soon, with a blog focused on character customization arriving in the next few weeks. So stay tuned for that. Also, word on the street is that there's actually already another Oracle in the works, so they can't wait to share more. Honestly, this is a lot to process right now. I definitely need some time for everything to sink in, but I have very much been looking forward to that character customization blog, so I can't wait to unpack that with you guys soon and, see the next edition of the Witchbrook Oracle and continue to get excited for the game. I don't ever think a delay is a bad thing. It's just disappointing. But remember that with this extra time, the game will be even better than it would have been if it released this year. It will hopefully better live up to those expectations that we have. It will be the spellbinding simulation game that we can get lost in, and I think it will be worth the wait. At least I hope it will be, and that's what I'll be telling myself. So there you have it, friends. That's the latest news from Witchbrook. Please feel free to share your thoughts with me down in the comments. Anything and everything. I always love hearing from you. And with all that being said, thank you so much for watching. I love you all, and until next time, take care.